Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on the channel. It's great to be back and I feel like it's been a hot minute. So, for anyone that's forgetting, my name is Choi and we're back with another stream. Gameweek 31, I'm going to be wildcarding this week. No sugarcoating things because we are starting the stream a bit late. I'm going to be changing things as we go, like the timer, as you can see. In front of you, I've got a wildcard team. It's not the team I want to be going with just yet. I currently have players in it for now catching price rises, so it is going to change. You're going to watch me do it live on stream. So, for anyone that hasn't been here in a while, welcome back to another stream on the channel. I'm so sorry for the inconsistencies. I've just been so busy with college. So, I hope you understand. Thank you for joining me again. Do let me know if I've got that timer right. 12 minutes. Yeah, that's about right. But yeah, in front of you, I've got a little draft. It's not a bad team at all, but I plan on going without Salah like I've tweeted. So let me get onto the transfers page. Let's get straight into it. Let me currently give you some of my thoughts on why I might do that. And put back in Palmer. So I'm one that's been quite busy recently, so I do actually watch a lot of content like you guys. Because I don't have the opportunity to watch as many matches as I usually would. Good to see George in chat. We got Reese Clay, we got JP, Chewy FPL in chat, FPL NX, Sam Choi, we got Omar, and Asmus. It's great to be back, people, and I'm feeling good, I can't lie. Hope uni is going well, says Chewy. I wouldn't say going well, but it's definitely going somewhere. But we'll try to keep it to FPL because I won't bore you with uni. Do let me know how the audio is, by the way. And I'm sorry for starting the stream 10 minutes late, but this is going to be a treat. It's a nice little wildcard selection, and it is going to be live. So I will give you some of my thoughts. I think the most crucial thing for any of you that are on wildcard, if you're not already, I say it every single stream, please use FPL team and plan your weeks based on this, because it's so much easier to plan it on FPL team. And those guys do a great job trying to keep this website up and running, so do support them. Let me quickly update chat before I forget, and apologies if I am speaking a bit fast for you guys, because I understand not everyone can keep up with the Irish accent. I'll try to slow it down a small bit. It's just I'm quite excited to get into this wildcard team, and I feel like it's been ages since we've done a stream, so great to see all of you back in chat. Let me quickly zoom in and see what we got in here, just to show a bit of support for you guys that are consistently in here. We got Omar saying, what's up? Thoughts on my wildcard draft, please. Omar, we might review some drafts near the end of the stream. Eddie Casey, good to see you. We got Derek O'Reilly says, come on you Spurs. I don't know if I'm still a Spurs fan anymore. I'm struggling with Tottenham, but let's see. Is the deadline not 11, so an hour and 17? Yeah, you're right. I just can't count. Give me 2 seconds, George. I'll change that. I don't know why it got put in as a 1 hour 45. Okay, that should be better. Oh, again. Yeah, okay, there you go. We got FPL Doctor, good to see you. Objective Matt, Rukaf, a lot of regulars in here. Davis West as well. Okay, so thank you for joining me. Again, let's get into the team. So here's the team in front of you. Now, again, just a caveat. Salah was in here. And like I was saying, I watch a good few content creators because I don't have time to watch as many matches as I like. So I do get the opinions of a lot of different guys like you guys do. I'm one of ye. Don't think I'm any different just because I'm sitting in front of a camera. One of my favorite managers is Fran. And again, he's not having the greatest season right now. But the reason I like him so much is because he thinks so similar to me. So last night I made this team just to catch price rises. Just to reiterate that again. This is not the team. We're going to build the actual team live on stream. But yeah, Fran thinks very like me, and I don't know how. Like that week I went with Trossard, he done it. A lot of his picks last season were very similar to mine. He had a great season last season. Ended up finishing higher than I did, which was crazy. Triple digit rank. But yeah, he actually suggested the idea on one of his videos about going without Salah. And it embodies exactly who I am as a manager. So I think that's what I plan on doing. Now, why would you do that? Well, if you're free hitting in game week 34, like, I feel like you can go against him. I feel like Palmer does a really good job of not covering him. Again, it's really hard to say covering Salah, but for 3 million less, I think he does a really good job of covering Salah. I feel like that Ipswich at home game is really nice, and if you're not going to captain Salah, like Fran said, I feel like why not go a bit different? You know, we're going to captain the double game week player in 32. We got the Crystal Palace guys. Let me just bring up the fixture ticker so I can talk while I explain myself. But we also got doubles in game week 33, which we're not going to captain Salah realistically. Well, I'm not. I'm going to be free hitting in 34, so if need be, I can just put him back in. And then in game week 35, the fixtures get a small bit more tricky for Liverpool. They've got a single game week versus Chelsea, and then in 36 they've got Arsenal. So, I mean, sounds idiotic, but that's what we are over here at FPL Shy. That's why you guys listen to me, because I do stupid things. You watch me do them, you laugh at me and tell me how shit I am, and then we move on. Like, so I'm more than happy to take one for the team and try to do something a bit different to try to gain some rank. Maybe you guys are not there for it and think I'm silly, but I'm there for it. So I think that's the route I'm gonna go. I think there's more than enough reason to try justify it. I'm not trying to convince anyone to do it. I completely understand if you think that is stupid, but again, I'm up for doing something a bit more different, especially so late on the season. I think it would make it so much more fun. And also the funds. Okay, so if I take out Salah immediately, what can I do? Well, I can get a bit more shorty at the back, get rid of QAR, put in Saliba. That's the first thing for sure. Because why am I saying clever? With Justin Timber, or Jurian Timber, coming back from injury, I feel like QAR will probably lose his place. I feel like temporarily he's probably not bad, but long term you probably want someone like Saliba. So let me quickly put Saliba in here. That's the first thing that those little funds I should do. Nextly, Jacob Murphy. I don't love him, I'm going to be honest. I'd like to bring Murphy up to maybe even a Sar. And then we've already got 4 Palace in here, so that means bringing down Mateta. And I know Mateta's on penalties, but he's not exactly match fit. And when you look at fixture congestion, 4 games in a 2-game week block on a player who's just come back from injury, I don't know how likely that is that he gets all of those minutes. So I have actually no issue getting rid of him. I'm putting in Solanke for the Southampton fixture. Again, let's look at Solanke. And again, I was watching Fran, and I think he did make a really good point. Solanke is such a me pick. And again, I might be stupid. Solanke is the reason why I've done quite poorly this season, because I went with him over Isaac in one of those crucial weeks where he scored a hat-trick. And again, that was a mistake. But just because it happened once doesn't mean it'll happen twice. And if I look at the fixtures, game week 31, home fixture versus Southampton, we got that immediate, really good fixture. In game week 34, he's got Liverpool, but I'll be free hitting anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Don't get me wrong, Spurs have been worse than terrible. And I understand that Ange out shouts. Again, I'll never fall on that. I feel like he's under pressure, and any manager under pressure doing poorly, he's going to be frustrated. He's going to not be himself. It's coming towards the end of the season. I'm sure he just wants it to end just like many other fans, but again, I don't think Ange out is still justified. Shoot me down all you want, but that's what I think. Yeah, so Solanke, look, Spurs not generating anything crazy at all, to be honest, but I feel like we could still end the season decently. And that just leaves room for me to go with a Crystal Palace asset, a small bit cheaper, and potentially down the line move on Solanke to the likes of a Villa asset like Watkins if it comes to it. So that's what no Salah lets you do. Again, 1.6 million in the bank, which leaves you play around with the likes of Trippier if I wanted him, if I think he's going to play. Again, I honestly prefer to be a bit more comfortable and just go Dan Burn, if I'm being honest. But it leaves you go for the likes of Trippier if I wanted. And if I want to do something elsewhere, I could do Ederson down to the likes of a Henderson and move Manoz to someone else. Now, I do quite like the structure of this, keeping Daniel Munoz and Ederson. I know Ederson probably isn't that appealing, but I quite like having Ederson, and it's just what it lets you do in Gameweek 33. This is to bench boost in Gameweek 33, by the way. Let me quickly bring back up chat just to see what people are saying. Mark Parker, good morning. I am well. I feel really good. Franuk, live sneakers. Rashford and Saka punt last week was beautiful. Well done, Chess Econ. All transfers you did were good, but then Solanke comes. Yeah, I know it's not going to be for everyone. We got Ian in chat. We got Sally. JB says who you captaining. That's the thing. Who am I going to captain this week? I don't really want to put it on Isaac because I don't believe Eddie Howe. I feel like he could definitely be injured. And it kind of leaves me with no other option. If I've got no Salah, I've got no Isaac I want to captain. It only means I'm going to do something stupid. And there's two people staring at me in this team. We've got, of course, Cole Palmer, who, again, has only come back from injury himself. Of course, got a return versus Tottenham and a yellow card, I believe. Yellow card, that's right. And one bonus. Brentford away, not the greatest fixture, I'll be honest. Do I feel comfortable captaining them against Isaac? No. Is it an opportunity to do something else? Yes. Who else is there? Dominic Solanke. Southampton have been woeful, lads. Let me quickly pull up StatMoose and let's look at Southampton. They have been terrible. I don't care who they're playing against, alright? Again, there is a good chance that we see a small bit of early subs. Sorry, I can't spell. Southampton. I can't spell, lads. This is not good. If we quickly look at Southampton, I know we're looking at Southampton. I don't need to tell you that they're shit defensively, but I just want to show you. Where can I see goals conceded? Actually, I'll just do it on the FPL side. I don't know why I'm going on StatMoose. Yeah, let's bring up Southampton real quick. But yeah, look. It is silly to not do Isaac, especially if you think he's going to fit. But I'm very, very, very skeptical. And I know we can use a vice captain, which I probably will end up doing. But I don't know. I don't mind not going on Isaac. I really don't. I just feel like he could be out. But yeah, going through their fixtures, I mean, I don't need to tell you that they're a leaky team. For me, it's more so the numbers. They've been so poor, but I do think Tottenham at home can get a big result against Southampton, and Solanke could easily be involved in the goals. Looks like we've got a super chat. Let me quickly run to that before we carry on. Anish says, "Hey Chai, how are you? Isaac or Salah or Son as captain?" Thinking Son, what are your thoughts? Look, if I had wildcarded in Son, I probably would just stick it on Son just for why not. Isaac is probably the standout. If all three of those are fit, it would be Isaac, Salah, Son. Is there an opportunity to do something different? Yes, for sure. More chance of Anoku scoring in that game than Solanke. You're probably right. I had 3 Palace and it hurt me with no Solanke versus Southampton last week. Yeah, no, that was quite unfortunate for the early wildcarders. I'm so happy I didn't fall for the early wildcard. Not that it was a bad move by any means, but when people around you are all hitting the wildcard button, you're almost tempted because maybe they're onto something. But thankfully, last week, if I quickly go back to my team, we got a good amount of points of 59, and I didn't wildcard. Of course, that Marmouche captain coming in clutch, which was really, really nice. And a couple of players let me down again. Bowen, Trossard. I feel like it could have been a really good week if those assets just done something. And I know it's easy to say that, but they've not done something in weeks now, and we know how good they can be. So honestly, a small bit disappointing. I thought it'd be a bit better. But yeah, that was last week. We're currently at 182k, and we still have the triple captaincy left to play. So we can still finish the season strong. What am I hoping for? I would say I'd be happy with a top 50k, I'll be honest. But yeah, let me quickly put back in Palmer for the time being. And we'll also get rid of Jacob Murphy, put in Sarr. I'm leaning towards doing this for sure. I do like this. And you know what? What we'll do is I'm gonna build it on FPL team. We can go through the players one by one. So let me quickly hit the wildcard button. Here's what my team looked like before I wildcarded, by the way. So immediately, the first person I put in was David Raya. I feel like he is going to be one of my keepers, especially with the double in Gameweek 33. It is quite nice, one of those fixtures being Ipswich. And the other one I put in was just Ederson for the time being. Now, he is subject to change. City have been so poor defensively. Here, I'll have Saliba. I just feel like double Arsenal defence going forward, especially when you look at the fixtures. I mean, best defence in the league. Fixtures towards the end of the season are great. I'm free hitting in 34, so I don't need to worry about that. Especially just the double game week in 33, like I said. It's just too good to pass up on for me. Again, so let me, while we're on Arsenal, put in Saka. I feel like, honestly, going without Saka last week was probably the right play. I feel like managers who did go Saka did get a good bit fortunate getting a goal off the bench. Now, if of course you calculated him coming off the bench, fair enough, but I would say in general quite fortunate in my opinion. But this is a good week to bring him in. I can't tell you for certain he's going to start, I'll be honest, but I feel like it'd be silly not to go with him. So next we got Eze. Eze has to be in the team for me. Eze and Sarr picking up some really good numbers, especially Sarr in the last 5 games. I just feel like for the price, Sarr's really nice. Of course, a double-double in Game Week 32 and then 33 for Palace. I know they're not the greatest of fixtures, but I always play the fixtures. So if we look at the other double, again, this is the thought process when I make my own team for Wildcard, what I'm looking at. Of course, we have to have Newcastle. They've got a really nice double in Game Week 32. So, and they have a nice opening fixture this week with Leicester, of course. So Dan Burn is the default for me. You could go Livermento. I really don't mind Livermento. Dan Burn comes in at 4.4. Livermento 4.5. Kieran Trippier a bit more expensive, around 5.4 I think he is. But for me, I just would be... I would prefer the surety of minutes with Dan Burn, in my opinion, rather than going Trippier. Livermento I can understand. Okay, so we've got double Newcastle in. It would be nice to have a third one. And originally I did have Jacob Murphy. But for me, before we carry on to the Newcastle guys, let me just quickly put in Solanke like I said. I just feel like it is a good chance to do something a bit different. Even though it looks quite silly with how poor Tottenham have been, it's just such a nice opening fixture. And you'll see when I start moving towards Game Week 32, Game Week 33, how the team will look with him in it. But yeah, going back to my own team, who else did I have in it? I had Danny Munoz, Conte. So Conte, I feel like for the price, he's almost a no-brainer with the doubles coming up. That's why he's there. It's not like I think Villa are remarkable defensively at all. To be honest, I think Forest are probably better, but for the time being, I do quite like Conte. So here's the team currently if I make no other moves. And let me just bring it down the line. So, Game Week 32, here's how it looks. We've got the really nice fixtures for Villa with Southampton. We've got, of course, the captaincy of Salah for many managers this week. So that's why I prefer going without him, going towards Game Week 32. And this leaves me with a really good opportunity to bench boost if I wanted to. Looking at this bench is really, really nice. There is a decision to make for me whether or not I want to do it this week. Of course, the captaincy armband would go on Isaac. It's a really nice fixture for Solanke with Wolves away. We've got the doubles with Munoz and Newcastle assets. Of course, we are missing one Newcastle asset. And now that I look at it, I could probably do Pope here if I wanted. I think that looks quite nice. Leicester, if I wanted to start him this week, and then he'd have the double game week with United and Palace. And that would be a really nice bench boost. But it's Game Week 33 where it looks best, in my opinion. let me hit that bench boost button in Game Week 33. Again, sorry I'm not answering a lot of your questions. I'll try to get back to as many as possible once the team is set up properly. But of course, we would have the double game week players in. We're not going to be one of those guys who bench the double game week players. You got to have your strongest or your weakest bench on the bench, of course. By the way, sorry if you can hear clicking. It's just my mouse. Console would also go in. And we also have money to play around with. Again, whether or not I wanted to keep the transfers for this game week and try make the bench look a bit better, I'm unsure of. Because if I don't use the transfers this week, I could use them in game week 35 for the double, of course. So I don't think it matters whether or not I stack up this week on making the bench look a bit better. I don't think I need to. I probably would move on Dan Burn. Who I'd go to, I'm unsure, but I feel like I could easily leave that bench, and that's a really nice bench boost. It's probably better than the Game Week 31 one, or Game Week 32 one. I don't know what you think about that, but again, just the caliber of player like Isaac, Palmer, of course, Solanke. Again, it probably would be like this. That's probably a more realistic bench boost for what it is. But yeah, of course, you get the extra fixture with Ederson rather than what I was doing in 32. So I don't know what you think about that bench boost rather than the one in 32. I feel like this no Salah team looks really good, and if you really nail in the fact that you won't be captaining him in game week 32, you won't be captaining him in game week 33 because of course we got double game weeks, and the likes of a Marmoush or Saka are going to be really on the mind of managers for this week. So no Saka looking not too, or no Salah not looking too bad. And again, Mark Parker makes a really good point in chat. He says Isaac to Watkins that week, Chai, and that's what I was thinking. I could do Isaac to Watkins for sure, but if I make two transfers, I can do the likes of Watkins for Solanke, get a double game week, there. Again, how many do we have? We have 3, 6, 9, and we're just missing one City asset to make it a full stack. So I could potentially, oh no, I can't. Oh no, I have triple C. Yeah, so that would be the full collection then. Again, I would have to do Isaac rather than Solanke, but that Solanke fixture with Wolves is actually really nice. So I put him back there, and like Mark Parker said, I put back in Watkins. And there you go. There's a full bench. That's as good as it's going to get, which, to be honest, it looks really nice. So if I put that back in, it's of course Palmer on the bench. Palmer, Solanke, and Burn with a double fixture with Ederson. I feel like that's a really, really strong bench boost. In comparison, if I had Salah, I wouldn't be able to stretch to a Watkins in comparison. So I think that's really strong. Again, let me know if you think that is absolute dog in chat, because Salah might be your captaincy regardless of the single game week. But if we move on to game week 34, like I said, it doesn't really matter because I have the free hit. So again, we'll just bypass that and we'll go to game week 35. And in game week 35, the team looks really strong. Again, I've got Solanke with West Ham. Whether or not you think that's a strong fixture with how poor Spurs have been, I don't know. Again, we've Palmer with a tough fixture versus Liverpool. But we've, most importantly, 2 free transfers to use. And again, this is likely... let me go back to projected. We'll be likely setting up for the doubles in game week 36 like I have in front of you. Do I think Son starts today and has minutes? I would say so. I'd be surprised not to see him. But again, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see some rotation with the Europa League coming up. But if I had to put money on it, probably he's going to start. Looks good. Copy and paste it to me. Cheers, Derek. Son or Jota on Wildcard. To be honest, I'd probably have neither Spacine. Spassin. Mark Parker said he likes it. Ice Valley says a Wildcard at 2, Chai. Got Raya, Fleck, and Nico. You know what? Mbeumo is an interesting one. I really like the idea of Mbeumo. By the way, 160 you guys in here. Thank you for supporting me. Again, I know I've been absolutely slacking on the content on this channel. But again, it's just been a busy time this season for me. We've got a nice little super chat from Willis. He says, no free hit left. Spence or Nico Williams on Wildcard. I would play safe and I'd go Nico Williams for sure. Especially just with how good Forest have been this season. So Watkins makes sense due to the double in 36. Absolutely. I think if you consider that for sure, you don't mind getting rid of an Isaac. Especially when the fixtures towards the end of the season for Newcastle look a bit more difficult. For me, it's just how you manage 37. Of course, a lot of the doublers in 36 will be blanking in 37. So there is it is a double-edged sword. It kind of depends on how many blanks you mind having in 37. For me, I don't think I'd be too bothered. But yeah, that is enough waffling on what I plan on doing. What are we doing then? So let me go back to my first iteration of what we just made here in front of you. And we'll go back to our actual team. And I'm going to cement in those moves. I really like this team. Quickly, is there any new change in chat? Again, you could easily say the likes of Mateta. Mateta might be missing out. Of course, who am I going to captain this week? That's the big question as well. But other than that, I feel like if we get through this week with a Salah blank, again, I think that is probably unlikely, but we make work of what we have with the likes of Palmer, Brentford, which he could do quite well in. I think it's very, very solid, lads. It's just whether or not I want to go with Ederson on the, between the sticks. Like, I think with Ederson in place there, I could be a bit bolder. And even do the likes of... What's his name? Saliba, yeah. So I'm going to do Saliba up, like I said, Reece Clay. Sorry, that's what I was missing here. I was looking at it. I was like, why do I have money in the bank? I definitely want to be a bit safer with Saliba. So Saliba's in. Rashford, that's what I was going to say. I really like Rashford. It's just whether or not Watkins is fit enough with his knee to come back and play. I would not do Ederson. Yeah, if I'm not doing Ederson though, it's just who do I go for? I could do a Martinez. Asensio is interesting. Kelleher's 4 million, that's a good point, but I would chase the double game weeks for sure. So yeah, we'll have this team in place. Let's have a look at some of the projections for the week, will we? Let's quickly pull up Rob T, as usual. And while we have this graphic in front of you, I'll answer some questions. Okay, so in front of you, I've got this game week's projections. Rob T, go hit him with a follow if you don't already. But this is my point. Spurs projected the highest goals this week with 2.55. Solanke being the cover of this graphic. I mean, it says a lot and it explains why I want to go with the likes of a Solanke this week. Liverpool projected 1.8 goals, which is not bad, not terrible. But Chelsea matching that, if not a small bit better. And of course, the likes of Palmer are likely to be involved in the goals if that's the case. So I think if there's a week to go against Salah, I know I say it all the time. Maybe it's not justification, but I don't think it's too bad. Good morning, Liam. Good to be back. Absolutely. How does Solanke look against Chelsea? Not great. But Spurs in general haven't looked great. I like Rashford. Yeah, see, I really like Rashford because he is a patch player. He'll go through spells of scoring goals. And we've seen it so much throughout United. And I feel like Villa are actually quite good. So I really like the idea of Rashford. I just don't think it's worth bumping Rashford up from a Rodgers. I think Rodgers is just such good value. I don't think it's worth doing. By the way, this Arsenal game says 40% clean sheet. I feel like this is higher for Arsenal. I just feel like Everton's such a good game for Arsenal because by virtue of how they play. Solanke's a good punt. I agree completely. Is there anything else that stands out on this graphic? I mean, I suppose Newcastle 2.15. We're all going to have Isaac regardless of the news that How explained about how it is a minor groin injury, but I'm still a bit skeptical. Who I'd love is Anthony Gordon. Whether or not he's going to be fit or not come game week 33 or 32, sorry, I'm unsure. I feel like what's also interesting is how the City game is going to play out. I mean, this graphic has it quite close for that game. And I really think that game could be anything. City have just been that poor this season that you just wouldn't be surprised to see United turn it on for a game. But yeah, I think Rodgers is going to stay for me. I don't think going up to a Rashford is worth it in my opinion. And by the way, a lot of you guys might have a much better team than me due to team value. Team value this season for me has slacked a lot. It's probably the area which I've been most poor on. Chewy FPL says, would you sell Pickford to Rhea or save the transfer? Wildcard in 34 and no bench boost 33. Yeah, I would bring in Rhea for sure. I think that's well worth the transfer. What's your chip strategy? Gameweek 31 wildcard. Gameweek 33 bench boost. Gameweek 36 potentially triple captain on the likes of a Marmouche with that Southampton Bournemouth game for City. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think I have my triple captain in my team yet though, so I don't know how this is going to play out, but I think it makes it for a really exciting end. Asensio, good asset or not? Yeah, for sure he's a decent asset. Gary Wiseman, good to see you, my man. Taking a gamble on Isaac today, fingers crossed. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make these moves. So just in front of you, so you know what's happening. Solanke for Mateta. Let me quickly do a poll. Are these good moves? I want to know what you think. It's always important for what you guys think. I know I'm the one that you're watching, but I don't think I'm the greatest manager to walk planet Earth. I just really back my own opinions, and I understand if people don't agree with what I'm doing. That's never what it's about for me. I just like to do what I think, and that's always what this channel is going to be about. Do you think these are good moves? Let's just do that poll. Saliba, look, for minutes, Saliba, yes, for sure. Salah to Palmer, no, I guess I can understand no. Jacob Murphy to Sarr, yes. Mateta to Solanke, yes, for me, like. Did you play free hit? No, I'm free hit in Gameweek 34. My triple to captain is going on Marmotion 36. That's what I'm thinking. Best Arsenal defender, I can't afford Saliba. Best Arsenal defender, probably Kyriar. I would just risk it. He may not think about we think you're the greatest manager. I don't know why you think that. There are probably 10,000 or 100,000 managers with a better CV than myself. I've got 2 top K finishes. And of course, last season we had an absolute stormer. Mateta out was a big call. Yeah, I just think the fixture congestion. 4 games in 2 weeks. Jorgen Strand Larsen captain. I don't love it. Hi, would you play Konsa, Van Heck, or sell Gabriel to Saliba? I would sell Gabriel to Saliba. What would you do if we had no free hit in Game Week 34? I'd probably be changing my chip strategy. FPL Discomfort, Kieran, good to see you, my boy. He says, I probably wouldn't be going for Kyriar. And that's what Jerry and Timber are likely to come back. I agree, FPL Discomfort, but if you've no one else to go for and you want an Arsenal asset, I feel like Kyriar could be a good 1 week replacement, maybe. Why Guardiola and not Diaz? Guardiola plays centre back with injuries. That is a good point, and you could save some funds. I actually really like that, and that is a good point. It's just I'd keep Mateta, says Ian, or not Ian. Who said that? I say Murphy. A lot of mixed opinions. 52% on yes. As an Arsenal fan, Kyriar is not a good boy. Okay, there you go, guys. 2 Arsenal fans in chat saying no Kyriar, so they know better than I do. What chips you got left? Triple captain, bench boost, free hit. Well, I'm going to make those moves anyway. I'm almost certain I'm going to do those moves, and I'm going to put the captaincy on Isaac, voice captaincy on Solanke. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you, Paul. There you go. That looks much better. Okay, Guardiola or Diaz. Do I want some extra funds? Let me move the captaincy armband around. Make captain. Make vice captain. Save. Chip strategy. Wildcard 31, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Best time to assistant manager chip, probably 35. Pope or Ederson this week. Pope all day. No diggity, no doubt. Looking good choice. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Diaz would make it easier to go from Solanke to Watkins. I agree with that, Azaladine. But I would say Solanke has a better fixture in that game week than Isaac, who has Villa away. I do think you're right, though. That probably is justified if Guardiola's playing centre half anyway. Let me quickly pencil that in real quick. So, Isladine is saying, why not put in Diaz instead of Guardiola? Save yourself some money. Ruben. So that would save me how much? What's that? Point 0.6? I don't know how that works with team value. But yeah, I mean, that is quite nice. And then what it leaves me to do down the line, like you said, is move on Solanke instead of Isaac if I wanted. Just to keep flexible, rather than having that Forest home fixture, which maybe it is debatable what is a better fixture. Try best time to use assistant manager chip and who? Gameweek 35 is the best time to use assistant manager chip. If you're not using it in 32 and 33 because for whatever reason. Look, I do really like the 32-33 block on Glasner. Or how, and then I'd probably just go Pep. How Pep. But then you can't in 34. It really depends on your strategy. It's hard. But I think 35 is quite safe. I do like 35. Would you take a punt on Rashford or Asensio? I would pick Rashford. Please help. My defenders are Livermento, Saliba, Guardiola, Konsa. Who should I get? I can't have Crystal Palace defenders or a Newcastle one. There's nothing wrong with Livermento, Saliba, Guardiola, Konsa. So there really isn't a problem there. I think the fifth player is luxury or who you want to bench boost with. Bench Marino or Eze. I kind of find that hard to bench Eze this week, if I'm being honest. Do get your comments in, guys. I'm trying to get back to as many as possible. But yeah, I do like that move. Let me quickly put that in my actual team. Madison or Isaac captain? Well, it's Isaac. I think we're all defaulting on Isaac. Just please make sure you have your voice captain chosen. Yeah, so that is about 0.6 if I put in Guardiola. Or Diaz, sorry. Saving 0.6. And that could be quite handy down the line. I could also go with Pope, lads. I could do Pope. Maybe put in Pope as well, see how it looks. When am I going to be playing Ederson? Ederson is going to play in game week 33 on bench boost, 35 and 36. If I had Pope, he'd play in 32. I don't want Pope. I'd much prefer to play Rhea. Then again, I could go... No. I like that. I'm trying to think, would Martinez rather than Ederson and Guardiola instead of Konsa be better, but probably not. Also, maybe one thing I should look at again could potentially be in the likes of a Savinho. Any love for a Savinho? 6.2, really good value. We played a really good game last week. Again, that would probably mean no Ruben Diaz. So I'd probably just move him on to probably a Newcastle defender. Nah, I think I much prefer Sarr. Doubles. So I need some advice. Mateta Solanke this game week. Thinking Glasner for game week 32 for table bonus. Already own Manoz and Eze. Also going for Amaron this week. That is bold. I really like that though. I don't know where you need help because I think they're good moves. I mean, if I had Mateta and I had to use a transfer to get rid of him, I wouldn't. Hey man, why aren't you considering Sells? Because Sells is not going to play for me. I might as well go for the doubles in Gameweek 33. Savinho or Rashford? That's tough, but probably Rashford. I mean, I don't think they're both starting on minutes. It's hard. I've seen so many streamers captain Isaac. Why is that? Well, let me show you why. The reason is, if he's fit, he has the potential to do some dirty damage to a bottom half team. And if we look at some of the teams he's played this season, this Leicester game, 11-pointer, Southampton 5-pointer, Ipswich 17-pointer, Southampton again 13-pointer, 16-pointer against Wolves, 13-pointer again against Southampton. When Isaac plays against these bottom half teams, he does not fuck about. So I think it is completely justified if he's fit why you'd captain Isaac. And my thought process is, if he's not fit, he's not going to get any minutes. He won't come on off the bench. I can't see that happening. So why not just put it on him anyway and hope that I say bottom half teams, I mean relegation side teams. Maybe that wasn't the right language to use. Some dirty damage. But you know what I mean. So that's why. I mean, it makes sense. And even against some of the good teams, he's just been on a different level this season. Easily the best striker in the world behind Harry Kane. I know a lot of you will love that. Captaincy poll, absolutely. Let's run it. Let's run it. Let's do Isaac, Salah, and it won't be Palmer. Let's do other. Let's see what chat is saying. 167 of you in here. While you're voting on that poll, do me a favor. Do hit that like button for us. I appreciate you joining me for a wildcard stream. Again, I know I've been so inconsistent. I'm so sorry, but just been busy, guys. And hopefully next season we'll grow a bit more. My intention this season wasn't really to do anything crazy with the channel. I mean, I was just floating around for a time being, trying to make videos where I could. I think if you consider the fact from a channel perspective where we're at around 7.7k subscribers, I'm fairly sure. But I'm confident if I consistently made videos, consistently done my streams, put a bit more effort interacting with you guys, we can for sure be over 10k by next season, at the start of next season. So I'm going to try putting this effort. Again, things will change between now because of college and the start of next season, of course. But I'll try to get my templates ready so videos are easier for me to make. I'll try maybe start a different platform like TikTok or Instagram. Try to make my face a bit more familiar in the community. But for the time being, for the rest of the season, I'll stream where I can. And I do appreciate you guys joining me. Gordon, please, is he fit? I don't think he's trained. I think Solanke will score more than Mateta this week, and that's why he's in my team. So 70% of you currently on Isaac, 20% on Salah, and the other 10% on other. Interesting. I do think I'm going to put in Ruben Diaz. Guardiola's goal threat at centre half is not as good, and that is a good point. Morning Choice says Tiny Fungus. Isaac news, will he play? Tiny Fungus, the general consensus is we're currently taking what Eddie Howe says for what it is. He has a minor groin injury, and I quote minor. Whether or not I believe him, I don't know, but I think it's worth putting the armband on him anyway, because I don't expect him to get minutes off the bench if he's unfit, and have the armband ready on the likes of a Salah if you haven't. Ezaldine says Ederson to Henderson, Minoz to Livramento, Rodgers to Mbeumo. Why don't you consider this? Because I want to keep Rodgers. I think Rodgers is a must keep for me. Minoz as well in a double. I don't see why you wouldn't want a player with such high attacking threat. Walk Alone says, can you please answer me? He says, which of these transfers should I make? Or should I do all of them? -12. I have one free. Hall to Burn, Doku to Sar, Bruno to Eze, Wissa to Solanke. Doku to Sar makes sense. Wissa to Solanke also makes sense, but minus 12 this week, I wouldn't be doing it, I don't think. Can you show me your starting 11, please? Okay, I'm going to quickly do that Diaz move. Save me some money. So Guardiola to Diaz, everyone, for anyone that's just tuned in. And this is to save me 0.6. And later down the line, hopefully it will let me be a bit more flexible. I don't need Diaz this week, by the way. That's why I don't mind doing that move. And in game week 32, when Diaz is in, he also plays against Crystal Palace. So if I'm not bench boosting, he can stay there. And then I'll have him for game week 33. Tiny Fungus says, sound, thank you. Marmouche Brace, calling it right now. Well, if you're calling it, Tiny Fungus, put the armband on him. Back your mash. I want to see it. Son, Bruno, or Mbuemo on Wildcard. Spacina, I love the idea of Son, don't get me wrong, but with Europa League, I just don't know what I'd be doing. And Ange out being called, or people calling for Ange's head, I don't like it. So likely Mbuemo. Let me quickly bring up Brentford's fixtures, actually. Maybe I'm not giving Mbuemo enough love, but for me, they're tough fixtures, man. So not for me. Here's the starting 11. Maybe there is some question marks on whether or not I want to start Rodgers instead of a Sar / Eze. If I were to bench one out of Sar and Eze, I know a lot of people have that. I would probably bench Sar, if I'm being honest. Why no Marino? I don't know about Marino. I just don't think I want him to be in my team, to be honest. I'd rather have a Sar and a Raya. 2 premium keepers. Yeah, 2 premium keepers. It is a disaster waiting to happen, if I'm being honest. When has Ederson ever been a good premium keeper? Never. But that is what we're about. Doing stupid things and just being, I don't know, being the one to laugh at when things go wrong, I guess. Would you choose Pope or Ederson? Ederson, because Pope is not going to play for me other than the double. T-Money says, can you check my team? I need advice. I tagged you on Twitter. You know what? You asked really nicely, so let's quickly put it up. This is a great thing of being a smaller content creator. I can get people sending me in stuff, and it's quite easy to just look through my most recent notification. It's great, and I can be a bit closer to you guys and try to answer as many questions as possible. Steven says Solanke has been awful, and you're right, but I don't think how awful, or it matters how awful you've been when you have a Southampton fixture. Let's have a quick look at T-Money's team. What do you think of this team and bench? Would you start Rodgers or anyone over Kepa, over Sanchez? Sorry. That is a nice team. I do like the Trimium in midfield. Strand Larson, really nice fixture. Evan Nilsson, decent fixture. Would I bench Rodgers? Yes, I would. Yeah, I really like it. The one thing I would probably try to do is Saliba if you have a transfer for Gabriel, and I'd probably just start Gabriel or Saliba over the likes of Agadou, to be honest, but that's just me. Nice team. I think he's very attacking, not sure he'll start. Look, Spence is not bad for this week, but I wouldn't want Spence going forward. That's the best way to put it. Eze or Sar, if budget is not an issue. Eze. I've always been on the Eze hill. Sar's been really good, and he's picking up the best numbers in the last 5 weeks, but for me, I feel like when Eze gets up to speed, he's the one you want. Savinho for Eze and sells for Ederson. I don't mind that, Anton, to be honest. But then it's like, I'm missing out on the double doubles. Why not have triple palace through these run of games? Semenyo to Palmer or Saka for -4. Saka. Solanke or Eze for this week. Solanke. Overall Eze for the double double. FPL Choi, I'm probably free hitting in game week 38 and KDB captain, no joke. Well, I wouldn't look that far into the future personally. A lot can change between now and then. Bench boost in 32 or 33? Okay, this is another poll I want to quickly run. Because this is, I feel like, really, really close. Let me quickly show you my bench for both Game Week 31 and or 32 and 33. I feel like it's tight. So let's do Ederson. No, let's just do a poll. BB32, BB33. And I want to know your input. So in front of you, I've got my bench for Game Week 32. Of course, it's the fixtures for me that is really good. Southampton for Roger, Southampton for Konsa, Crystal Palace for Diaz, Crystal Palace for Ederson. But in comparison, again, maybe I'll just leave this in the screen for another second. In 33, we've got Ederson with a double fixture, Solanke with Forest, Palmer with Fulham, and Burn with Villa. I mean, it's a no-brainer, maybe, actually, now looking at it. Maybe it is a no-brainer. Yeah, people are just spamming 33. I don't know. There's something not right with benching players in Game Week 32 with those fixtures. I hate it. What about Boy Solanke and Eze for -8 and bench Bruno? I don't love that walk alone. Which defenders are you recommending? I would say one of Livramento or Burn. HI, why Diaz over Guardiola if you can afford? For money down the line to do Solanke up to a Watkins if it comes to it and keep Isaac. That is the reason. It just leaves me be a bit more flexible. I'm going 32. Have João Pedro, Estepinian, Williams and Pope. Yeah, that's quite nice. HI, is it worth to wildcard this week and bench boost next week? I have no free hit for the blank game week. I have Gabriel and Ada. That's a really awkward place. I would say if it's a bit easier said than done though. Can you please explain, Chai, why not using Strand Larson over Solanke? Because Solanke has a much better fixture this week in terms of how many goals I expect Tottenham to get. Even though Spurs have been shit, Southampton can fold under Tottenham away because they're Southampton. It's nothing to do with Spurs, to be honest. If it was Wolves versus Southampton, I would probably have Strand Larson. HI, what happened to your rank this season? That's a good question. Let me go through that. So, let me speak to you about my rank. I'll be honest, I haven't had as much time to put in FPL this season. If I'm being flat out honest. Whether or not that affects my rank, I don't know. That's up for interpretation. For me, I've been really, really happy with my decisions this season. As a manager, I really back what I do regardless of the outcome. I think a few things have gone against me this season and I don't regret the moves I made. What has been the biggest issue for me this season in terms of why my rank is poor? I would say Alexander Isak. There was a 1 week block where I went Solanke over Isak. And Isak just went nuclear in a run of games. That isn't the sole reason. Again, not going with Haaland for the first 6 weeks. And him scoring however many goals. And then moving to Haaland and him blanking. That made it a really bad start for me. So when I consider not having Isak for so long, going against captaincy almost every single week when I don't own the likely players, I'm actually surprised we're at 180k. It could be way, way worse. And also, another thing to note is that I have my triple captaincy. And I want to say that's a minimum of between 6 and 10 points. The higher end being, let's just say 12, okay? 10 points on my rank now brings me up to, what, 140k? Give or take. So, maybe not as bad as it seems hitting wildcard this week. Another thing for me has been team value. Because I've not been as active as I usually am, I've not been keeping tabs on team value, trying to make early moves, which I normally do. I've been a lot more passive this season because I've been busier. And how the transfers have changed this season, I feel like I could have been a bit more laxed. I could roll into a third transfer, fourth transfer if I wanted, and knowing that I could just alter my team down the line. Whereas I probably could have been a bit more aggressive in the sense of making early transfers, trying to catch some team value. Like if I look at my team value now, it is really poor. It's currently 102.3 altogether, and in comparison to some managers, they have 106, 107, 4 million on a manager like me. With these double game weeks coming up, I mean it is a lot. Whereas I have to make moves like doing Guardiola to a Diaz, or a Guardiola to a Diaz, to try and make some funds, or even Sarr instead of Mateta, even though Mateta's on penalties. These are the little things that I have to do because my team value has been poor because I've been less engaged. I'm not going to sit here and try and make excuses on when my rank is a bit poorer than last season, but let's be realistic. Last season, what was going on was ridiculous. I think for anyone to be in and around the top 100k, not 100k, sorry, top 10k is silly. Never mind top 10 for however many weeks we were. So, I mean, they're the reasons. And hopefully we can still finish the season strong. I think a top 50k would still be a good finish, in my opinion. Captain Isaac and Hope, absolutely. Choi, will Solanke pull off a JSL? It's all about the fixtures. I agree. Fixtures are massive. Rare or sells? Rare. But yeah, that's why the season hasn't been as good, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. But yeah, I would love a top 50k. I feel like that would end the season well for me, considering how much has went bad. And then we go again next season, and hopefully make some better moves. Shai, can you talk about the assistant manager, please? Thoughts on this week where Glaz are next to? No, I would just play it this week if I had no other chips to play. Or not this week, or maybe next week, sorry. Play Raya against Everton this week or Pope against Leicester? I would play Raya. Matoma with Leicester in 32? Chess Econ, you love Matoma. You come in here every single week. And if you love Matoma, get him in. I have no issue with bringing in players that you love to watch or believe in. Okay, let's go on Twitter. Let's do a cheeky scroll to see if we have any news. Let's see what we got on here. Let's see what Alex Follow is saying. Trolling. God, I love it. FPL mode says, pretty certain I'll settle on this today. Bench still undecided. Roland 32, Isaac to Watkins in 33, Burn to someone in 33. Triple captain in 32. I could also triple captain Isaac if he's fit next week, by the way. I forgot that was a consideration. And it's probably a likely one. I don't know, I just feel like there's something nicer holding on to it towards the end of the season. Oh, I need to make sure to get my bench order right with the likes of Isaac potentially being out. Yeah, Rogers is the one I want to start if there is no Isaac. And Solanke is the man I want to have the armband if he doesn't get it. For all the FPLers in my DMs and asking, yes, I think Isaac will be fine. Okay, there you go. I don't know if anyone saw that update, but there you go. Any thoughts on Trippier, says Fran? Start for me, they don't play till Monday. Interesting. We're absolutely fucking shit at football, aren't we? We are. Tottenham are useless. Let me refresh the timeline again. Get your question in, lads. Why is that captain? Because if he doesn't play, I don't think he'll get any minutes off the bench. You know what's going to be great, though? What's going to be great is Solanke getting a hat-trick versus Southampton, and then me hoping Isaac is injured versus Leicester. It's going to be fun. I'll be there for it. Captaincy poll. I really like this Marino, Savinho, Rashford, Eze. Jacob Murphy, not too mad about. Okay, sorry guys if I'm boring you by going through the timeline. Just trying to see if we can get any sort of news. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything crazy. Let me pull you back to my own team. Here it is. I think it's looking quite nice. Let me go through the moves that I'm going to do if I go down that route. So Ruben Diaz is in. Looks like that. Captain on Isaac. Vice captain on Solanke. In game week 32, it looks like this with Isaac captaincy, of course. Of course, we are missing one Newcastle asset. But if Anthony Gordon is fit enough at this point... How much is Gordon? I think he's 7.4. Hold on a second. Gordon is 7.4. Look at this shot. Hold on. That Diaz to Guardiola leaves me enough money to do Gordon next week. FPL team has it wrong here because team value or whatever. But in game week 32, if Gordon was fit, I could bring him in and have triple Newcastle. That looks really good. Who would I bench though? That is so tough. It would have to be Solanke by virtue of form. In game week 33, it looks like this. So it's sacrificing one transfer and I'm missing out on Rodgers, who has a double this week, but is a much better double for Gordon in game week 32. So maybe it is justified. And then we have that bench, which doesn't look as good, if I'm being honest, than Palmer on the bench and Rodgers in. Yeah, but just tinkering, having the opportunity to bring in Gordon if it comes to it, that's really nice. Still 0.3 million in the bank. Bench boost that looks really strong. And then we move on to game week 34, which of course is free hit, like I said. Game week 35, we're left with Gordon with Brighton away, which I really don't mind. It would have been Rodgers with Fulham. Game week 36. This is where I probably would want Rodgers. So maybe long term it's not a good play, but I could always get him back. Again, it's just nice to have the flexibility and something to definitely look at. But yeah, that looks quite good. I really like that. Let me bring back up chat. Actually, let me quickly zoom in on chat, so you can get your questions in. And let me close this poll real quick. Gonna go with a risk. Son as captain. Anish, I love that. I love it. I love it because you're more than happy to take a risk. You're someone that's in here every single week and you've no issue with doing it. So go for it, man. Hi, Chai. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. What are your thoughts on assistant manager this week? I'm considering Potter, Amaron, and Frank this week in that order. Potter, Amaron, Frank this week. Potter would be top of the pile for me, yeah. You used to be one of the best in the world and now you're just another bare bum in the shower. Snooker fan, that's a bit harsh. I don't think rank is a good indicator of how good you are at FPL. Again, I don't think I'm one of the best, and I never once said I was, even when I was second in the world. Could Saka be a doubt against Brentford next week because of Madrid fixtures? I mean, yeah, Jack. There's a lot of considerations you have to take in. I would just prefer to have Saka regardless, in my opinion. Evan Nilsson or João Pedro? Evan Nilsson or João Pedro? João Pedro. He's been on good form. Martinez or Henderson? Henderson, I want to say. Third time lucky. 8.2 left. Can't decide. Last mid deciding between Savinho and Marino. Any other suggestions? Savinho for me. He looked really, really sharp last game. I'm going to pull up chat separately here so you can see my team. I don't know how reliable he is, but I see a lot of FPL managers. I see a lot of popular FPL managers comments in. I don't know what you meant by that, Adam. Leave a like if you're enjoying the stream. Cheers, George. And again, thank you for moderating all these streams. I really appreciate it. Okay, another little scroll on Twitter so we don't miss anything. Let's see what we got. Who's your captain? It is on Isaac. Potential price rises yesterday. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything significant on the timeline. General consensus, it looks like Isaac should be fine. Should be. By the way, I'm so happy I didn't wildcard last week. Such a good decision. It was so close because I really wanted to. I did really want it, to be fair. I'm trying to think, is there any last minute moves I want to make with my own team? You have to have triple Palace, in my opinion. Just with the double doubles, regardless of who they're playing. Cheers, Adam. Thanks for the content. Start Konsa or Kirkes? Konsa. Why not just put Gordon in now? Because he hasn't trained all week. Oh, yeah, you make a good point. Because he's not playing this week. That is a good point. Why not do Gordon this week? Because if I'm thinking Gordon, I think I have to start him this week. Even though he's not, I don't think he's going to play. Secondly, Rodgers has one more fixture than Gordon down the line, if we look at the fixtures. Of course, we got that game in 33, game in 36. And he has, not like I'm going to play him, but Southampton next week. I mean, I could do Gordon. In my original draft for this, I did have Anthony Gordon. I suppose it's just plain information. I'd rather have Rodgers now with the Dublin 33. Because we don't know how fit Gordon is going to be. If that makes sense. I guess it's just information. Even though it probably is. Because I'm going to bench him anyway. Not a bad idea to bring him in. Shar, Doku, or Kirkes and Sar? Kirkes and Sar. Hi Chai, says Eddie Casey. Milenkovic, Byrne, Guardiola. Start 2. Byrne and Guardiola. Jacob Murphy better anyway, you think so? Again, I could put Jacob Murphy in and then just make a move down to Rodgers. Well, again, when I look at my team for 32, I don't mind starting Slanky instead of a Jacob Murphy if I don't have him. 2 home fixtures though, United and Crystal Palace. Ooh. How much in the bank? 2.2. 2.2 million in the bank. Asmus says, hello Chai. Who would you bench of the 7 attackers? Currently on Sar. Done Gabriel to Saliba last night. ID is 2032. Super chat, as you know. Any super chats we get, we do run them through FPL team. So let me quickly go to your team. 7 attackers currently on Sar. Done Gabriel to Saliba last night. Gabriel to Saliba. Let's pencil that in for you. Holy balls, you got 7.2 million in the bank. Oh no, you don't. That was just a glitch. Okay. I was about to say. Eze or Savinho, Saka, start 2. Eze. Let's quick look at Asmus's team. Currently on Sar, done Gabriel to Saliba. Which to bench? Well, firstly, I'll put in Livermento. I like that you have Denier. I do like that. Foden is bold when he just got benched. I would also be inclined to bench Sar. Only because Newcastle are so good against the poorer teams. I think you're right to bench Sar. Brighton can be a tough game as well. I would have it like this also. But, yeah, for sure. Please help, Chai. Start Rashford or Sar? That's tough. That's tighter, in my opinion. Rashford or Sar? Rashford for the form, I guess. Guardiola versus Manoz. Who'd bench? I would bench Guardiola. I'd play the home fixture with Manoz. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I do appreciate it. I think the triple Newcastle's were with the home fixtures. I mean, I guess, but like Gordon could also just be not fit, and then I'm left with an extra transfer to make. Sorry if you already answered, but are you bench boosting 32 or 33? Says Ramiz. The answer is I can't tell you for certain. If I were to put my money on it, where I'm going to do that, it'll be 33. 2 seconds. I'm just going to open the window. My cat is in. Hello, Jerry. Rogers or Asensio? Rogers. Rogers for the value, lads. He's still the best value player in the game. Especially with the doubles coming up. I'm just rubbing my cat for anyone wondering. What do you think about bench boost 32, triple captain Marmoush 33, or triple captain Isaac 32, and bench boost 33? So that's the question, Farak. Do you want to do something like that? And like for me, it'll really come down to the game week. Because we have a double in 36, I feel like you can wait and maybe use it on Marmoush in 36 if you want to use it on him. Southampton and Bournemouth, they're better fixtures than Everton and Villa. Start Savinho or Guardiola or Sarr. I would start Savinho. Always start the attacker. We have 6 minutes until the deadline. Be sure to hit that like button for me and leave your questions in chat. Okay, not on Twitter. Let me have a look at this Gordon for Rogers. I have the exact amount of funds to do it. And I have a Newcastle spot open. Does it make more sense, chat? Quick little poll, will we? Be rude not to. Hold Rogers. Ugh, my cat is scratching the shit out of me. Hold Rogers or get Gordon. It saves me a transfer. He hasn't trained, so when is that? When does the double game week start? Start on the 12th of April. That is what, 7 days from now. He's a Spurs fan, to be fair. I don't like where that's coming from, George. What's he saying? I don't know why you're obsessed with Spurs players. I'm not. I just think there's an opportunity here with Solanke. Would you start Rogers or Trossard? Rogers, because Martinelli's back. Hold Rogers 82%. When Gordon's fit, though, he's an amazing asset. He is class. Should I please help? Rogers, Bruno, Guardiola. Starting Bruno and Rogers. Spurs. Laughing face, laughing face. Yes, never great being a Spurs fan. Is Madison starting? I would say likely. I'm so tempted by Digne instead of Konate. What do you think? Thanks, legend. I don't mind that move at all. It's quite nice, actually. If I have Gordon, then I go into Gameweek 33. I can do Isaac to Watkins anyway. Oh, don't know. Everyone is saying hold on to Rogers. But Gordon is bold. And I did have him in my original draft. Let me quickly go back to Fran. I want to see if that page said anything about Gordon. We've 3 minutes until the deadline. Let me see if I can quickly get something. Craig Hope. What are you saying, Craig? X-Mins. Is Gordon a good to go, Craig? He's from the city, so knows the city. Would imagine he's ready immediately as he doesn't need to ask for directions. What? What did I just read? That was the most useless. Oh my god. What about Anthony Gordon? Do you think Gordon? What about Gordon? I can't get rid of Rodgers. Rodgers has been that guy for me. Hold on, I have 2 minutes 34 seconds to decide. I know 80% of the chat thinks hold on to Rodgers, but I just think that double for Newcastle is really nice. And I'm playing with one less doubler. Or do I just leave the door open for a transfer? Oh! What do I do? Why am I only thinking this now? Who made that point? He's going to be fit for that United game. He is going to be fit. And I'm not playing Rodgers that week anyway. I want Rodgers in 33, but... Savio. Balls, lads. Anton, fair play. You have me thinking, my boy. It's just down the line then. I need an extra transfer. How does that double look for Villa? I mean, it's not great, is it? Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home. Last minute chair. I've about 40 seconds to decide. I'm gonna do it. Rodgers to Gordon. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start Gordon this week as well. Just off the odd chance that Howe was lying. He'd hardly come off the bench. There you go. There you go, everyone. It's always eventful in here. If you haven't already, do hit that like button. Also, do subscribe if you're not already. Hopefully, we can see a nice green arrow this week. It's been another enjoyable stream. Do make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you, Anton, for the input. I really appreciate it. You have me thinking, in fairness. And best of luck for those on Wildcard. If you're not on Wildcard, hopefully your team is looking in decent shape. And thank you for joining me. I mean, that was really enjoyable. I feel like it's been a long while, everyone, as well. So, to the 150 that are still in here, really do appreciate it. Deadline is over and our team is locked in. Let me quickly screenshot that. Chica puts a facepalm emoji. I don't know what that's about. Maybe you hate the Gordon start off the odd chance that Howe is lying. But yeah, there's a team. I feel like it's really strong. Hopefully Isaac play or either doesn't play and I get start off the bench anyway, or Solanke just does well regardless. I just need Solanke to do well because he's my bowl move this week. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Best of luck this game week, and as usual, hopefully, if I'm not too busy with college work and stuff, I will see you in the next.